Ah.
Oh, that's the ace? Alright.
Okay, I'm alive. It's one, it's back.
No.
Nah, he's still... Everybody's on a smoke break.
Yeah. I'm just rolling a cigarette right now, so they're quite accurate.
I'm not smoking because smoking is bad for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Smoking's bad, okay?
Spam time?
Oh, I like this model. Look at that.
My stream just like froze.
So fast. We gotta be near the end.
Okay, I'm back.
There we go.
How the
And it
hell
looks
do I-
like by some miracle you're... Oh yeah, you've got invincibility on. That's why.
Ah, damn it. And I got the golden crowbar. I don't know where it came from, but... I found it, buddy. Alright, let's do it.
So... Anyway,
Yeah, what's up?
I guess this is the point where we talk about tactical.
Oh, everything, man. I want to go way back.
You-
Not just tactical.
Yeah.
I know it's just, What the hell? I just got pushed off the platform.
Yeah, that's because you suck. Ha!
Yeah, so tactical. I kind of think that was the biggest mistake I ever made. You know,
Oh.
in terms of SMODing, was agreeing to take over that.
Yeah, well. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's like, well, I don't know. It had the user base. That was pretty much it. I mean, that's,
Yeah, there was a... For one, it was a logistical nightmare to do news updates and the like with.
right.
Because it's like, we had control of the forums, but Fat Cat, who originally created SMOD Tactical, was the only one who had control over the website. And then there's ModDB, and I will never work with ModDB ever again. Seriously, it's good only for the popularity, only for the exposure.
Yeah. The user base is awful.
Well, not only that, but the site has a bunch of red tape that is entirely unnecessary because so much of it is unenforced. Like they want that you have to have all images, news items, etc. cleared, especially downloads. Like staff members have to approve them before they actually officially get posted. But it's like you see some of the mods there, and it's a minor miracle that no one does anything about them.
Right.
Like you'd think a place that is actually going as far as approving images, downloads, etc., would be just a little bit more strict on what actually gets in. So
Yeah.
it's like, why even have all of these measures at all? If the enforcement behind them is going to be so scattershot.
Right.
It just delays everything, to be honest. Like, you know it's gonna be approved anyway. You just need to wait. I've seen like remakes of SMOD, like someone just replaced the crowbar with katana and released it as another SMOD, and that just went through. And it got rating like of 1, I think, and never anyone really took it down, and it's still on. It's still on there, and no one really like cares about it.
Right, and you'd think that place that goes as far as to require all this approval, has all this red
Yeah.
tape, would be a little bit more strict on
Yeah.
what gets in. And it just kind of brings into question why have all of this red tape at all. and it makes doing synchronized releases practically impossible to do.
Right.
So yeah, like I said, logistical nightmare. Especially, one thing I didn't bring up, we were moderators on the forum, but we still didn't actually have control over the back end stuff, the software, doing the updates, etc.
Right.
That was still
a
all
problem.
Fat Cat, and he just kind of stopped caring at some point. That even though we had problems with spam bots and such, it's like he could be barely bothered. And then of course there's the elephant in the room where we had all the trouble with the regulars.
Right.
Certain members there, and it's almost been 5 years since that whole mess happened, and for the most part I've moved on.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we all have. But I really wanted to start earlier than that. I mean, that's an aspect of it, right? That's kind of like the midlife crisis point of the whole situation. But I really want to start, like, way early, man. Like, when did you get into SMOD? Because I know, I don't want to say you're, like, one of the original guy, but you're, like, one of the oldest names I know from the SMOD community, for sure. And not oldest, like, oh, you're old, man, but, you know what I mean? You've been around for a long time, so when did you start into it?
Way back when it was first posted on Face Punch, way back in, like, early 2006. It may have been late 2005, actually.
Right.
And, it was first posted, someone dug up this crazy Japanese Half-Life 2 mod that was basically, it had bullet time, it had quick kicking, it did a bunch of things in the maps, it was basically, it threw everything at the wall and didn't care what stuck or not, but, a lot of things stuck more than not.
Right.
Like, the individual features themselves are pretty well made for their time. Most people just did bullet time through cheap scripts, and he went so far as to actually have it Max Payne style, where, the bullets are actually projectiles, and you can dodge them.
Right. So when you found it, I mean, did you kind of get the sense right from the start that it was so, what would you say, modular, or like you could really edit or get really into the meat and potatoes of it? You know what I mean? Or was it just kind of like a novelty thing?
Well, back then, it wasn't quite as, modular. It didn't have the custom weapons back then. Knowledge about the mod in general was very obscure.
Right.
Like, people were still figuring out things about its stock arsenal back in those days, let alone anything with the map ads, the scripting, etc.
Nice. Yeah, because I didn't join the tactical forum till 2007, maybe, I want to say. So I missed a lot of the early part of it. So I didn't even know that, that was like that at one point in time. So when would you say that people really started to get a real grasp on what was, available with this mod?
It was probably around 2007.
Okay.
Because by then it had been updated, the custom weapons were starting to come into play, more console commands to tweak things, etc., etc.
Right.
And that was back when Redux and Tactical had their first releases out there, and, generally speaking, the Source fan base was healthier. The Source modding scene, it's definitely in its twilight years.
Right.
Now.
It's old, man. It's such an old engine now.
Well, yeah, but something that still disappoints me about it is, I feel like the scene never quite took off like it did with Half-Life 1.
Mm-hmm.
You look back on a lot of the great mods that were released for Half-Life 1, like, you had not just Counter-Strike or Team Fortress or whatever. You also had, Action Half-Life, The Specialist,
Right.
They Hunger.
Firearms.
There was a...
Firearms
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah, Firearms, that too. You had a lot of mods, and they were all reasonably popular. They all had, reasonably good-sized fan bases of their own. And Source, it never feels it took off like that. The most popular mod for Source I could think of way back in the day was Insurgency, and I don't think that ever had more than a few dozen servers.
Right.
Whereas, there was always a decent pick when you played Firearms or The Specialist or Action Half-Life back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's true. I had a lot of fun with the deathmatch for Half-Life 2, though.
Well, the deathmatch thing, it really did seem like they phoned it in.
Well, yeah, that's true, but
With Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1, it was competent. It wasn't exactly, on the level of Quake or Unreal, but for what it was pretty good.
right.
I think the thing about Half-Life 2 Deathmatch is that there wasn't a big enough weapon variety. I mean, not in terms of bullet-firing weapons, but in terms of, the Tau cannon not being there, the Gauss gun.
Right.
You
they had
lose some of the...
Deathmatch Pro and all that, but you're right, they really didn't have that much of a... you join there and it'd be 2 servers with people on them. A lot of servers, but not a lot of people playing. So...
Right, and that's kind of a problem that existed with a lot of Source mods in general.
Right.
And why I'm a little... it just never really took off like it did with Half-Life 1.
Yeah. So, God, what were we talking about? The SMOD mod releases. Oh, check these out.
Yeah.
So you use it... Oh, look at that reload. That's pretty groovy, look at that. I like it, Juan.
What weapon are you talking about? The stream is...
Oh, it's a lagging, yeah, it's...
not acting.
It's, the dual magnums. Or the dual, I'm sorry,
Wait, the golden
Colt
Colts?
45s, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, those weapons, originally, they were just going to be the generic dual Berettas.
Right.
But they didn't have that good of a feel, At some point, it was Left 4 Dead 2 style, where you actually had a normal Half-Life 2 9mm in one hand and the Counter-Strike Beretta in the other.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't feel good either. Because when I did a playthrough of the campaign with it, the whole idea was to give the weapon to the enemies, so there'd be more than just one pistol.
Right.
But in practice, it wasn't really used that much anyway, and they're based upon the Colt 45s from the Specialist. If you ever played the Specialist much.
I really was not around for Half-Life 1.
Mm.
I didn't have a PC.
Well, the Gold 45s, them in themselves are a reference to the movie Face Off with
Right.
Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. And since I noticed that the reload animation for the Survivor dual pistols was really similar to how Nicolas Cage reloads the Gold 45s in Face Off, I just decided to do a Half-Life 2 take on them.
Right. I like it, man. It's cool. It's got the little Half-Life logo on it. It feels like an official thing. Did those come from Survivor, or did you make them? Or put
The
them
animations, the models themselves are from Day of Defeat Source.
together? Nice. Yeah, it looks good, man. I like it. Oh, so we got what's this? The MP40. It's a nice looking model. Some wood furniture on there, or really rusty furniture, I guess.
I actually think it's a material called bakelite.
Oh, alright.
Kind of like wood.
But not quite.
I'm not sure of the specifics myself.
I noticed you really like the snap recoil, huh? Is that what it is? Snap? Or is it the punch where it just moves your whole screen? Or
No,
is that...
punch is the stock Half-Life 2 weapons.
Right.
But snap, I mean, snap was used in Day of Defeat Source, so it only makes sense that a weapon from Day of Defeat Source would use it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
That makes
I mean, I
sense.
tried to make it so that there's a mix of weapons that use both punch and snap.
Right. Ooh, damn, almost killed me. Alright, so what came out first? What was the first SMOD mod that you remember coming along?
That was SMOD Remastered, and I'm betting that most people don't even know the name.
I do remember it.
Because, yeah, that was the very first one I can remember. I think it even predates Tactical by at least a few months.
Nice.
And, yeah, I first stumbled upon that on the Half-Life Improvement Team forums.
Right, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Now,
yeah,
who was that guy who was working on it? Didn't he have like a penguin avatar or something? Or am I
Your
thinking of
Evil
somebody
Twin
else?
was
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've still seen that guy around every now and then. Like, not on Half-Life stuff, but on other things.
Right.
Like, last time I saw him, I think he was actually doing game playthroughs on the Something Awful forums.
Alright.
Yeah, I know he actually did some Fallout 3 mods as well.
Yeah, you know what? I saw him there too. Or that sounds familiar, I should say. Something with that whole... Whoops, what did I do? Did I crash the game? Yes. I crashed the game! Yeah, so that guy, I remember that. He was working on that. And then, I also remember checking it later on, and it became Redux, or Remastered Redux, right?
Yeah, that was my version. You know, I asked him, like, yo, could I make my own? And he was like, yeah, sure. And that's kind of how that thing started. Yeah, that was back in the days where I was a lot younger, a lot dumber. I just was like, I'm going to put this, and I'm going to put this, and I'm going to put this, and it's going to be really, really cool.
Right.
You know, I mean, really, you can break Redux down into, like, 3 different mods at this point, with how its direction has changed over the years.
Right. You came from Max Payne, right? Wasn't that where you started? Or
Way back, yeah, I think Max Payne was actually the very first game I modded. There's also, like, I also modded Star Wars Rebellion, the old Star Wars, like, Jedi Knight games.
right.
Okay, so I'm back. Stream is off, I'm right? Are we
No.
still
It's
streaming, though?
getting back up there. The game crashed.
Yeah, the game crashed.
okay.
That's the problem.
The game crashed.
apparently,
I had to set up like
Go ahead.
a
Go ahead,
TV, basically, like a card for TV. I don't know how you call it though. Anyways, I'm back and I'm hoping to stay a little bit longer now.
Alright, cool, man. We're talking about some old SMOD Half-Life Improvement forums.
Oh,
Yeah, way back in those days.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So I carry on.
alright, let's see. What were we talking about? I lost my train of thought now. The game crashed. Apparently, you cannot grav gun those barrels underwater. The game doesn't like that. Alright, so that came out, and then Tactical. Like I said, I've never played Tactical, so I really didn't follow its development, other than, you know, it garnered the largest user base, and the only forums in, like, English, pretty much, for the most part. I mean, the active ones. So, how did that come
Right,
about?
and-
When did you stumble onto that? I mean...
You know what? I don't really remember. I think it was while I was messing around with Redux, I saw that on the SMOD forums, the official Japanese ones,
Right.
from what I can remember. And, you know what? I never really liked it. I gotta be honest. I never really liked it. I kind of thought it was rather pedestrian for a realism mod. The weapons didn't feel that good. Before Fat Cat contacted me about taking it over, I was actually kind of sort of making my own. It was going to be called SMOD SWAT.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Somehow I remember
And
that name. It sounds familiar.
yeah, I don't think I ever announced it or anything, because when Fat Cat contacted me about taking it over, I was like, yeah, sure. I was kind of making my own thing anyway, so I figured, why not be able to actually do it for tactical and really make this something interesting.
Right.
And yeah, that was a big mistake. With all the crud that went down in the community and such, like, I kind of view it as the bad old days.
Yeah.
But in a way, I did learn some things, because I didn't really care for the politics. I just wanted to get in there and I wanted to create.
Right.
And, that was kind of an unfortunate wake-up call that in certain things you can't really separate the politics from actually creating stuff. Regardless of how much it sucks. On some level it is there.
That's why
Which
I've
is
been
kind of...
Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought, man.
At the very least, like, people like Counter Life, they see I do releases for Gary's Mod these days on the workshop, where I'm just able to work on my own, release on my own. Yeah, there's a lot of riffraff in the comments section, to say the least, but at the very least, I don't have... I just do my own thing. I do what I want, and for the most part it works.
Oh my god, everything just took a dump on me. Yeah, I mean, you can provide support when you feel like it, or, whatever. And that's kind of why I've been so hands-off with this community, the B-Snooch one. But I'm trying to change that, man, because, well, some things are coming down the pipe, I have a feeling. And, yeah. Anyways.
Another freaking crash?
Yeah, just randomly. I don't know what I was doing. It's just SMOD. What are you gonna do? It's SMOD.
I know, and that's why I just kind of lost my enthusiasm for it, because so many of these crashes, I don't know the rhyme or reason behind them.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a lot of them can be traced to the Gore and MacAd system, but that's like 3/4 of SMOD's capabilities right there.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. Well, I want to ask you too. I want to throw a couple other things. One, do you remember a mod? I can't remember the guy's name, but SMOD Damage. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I think it was basically going to be a multiplayer version of SMOD Tactical.
Right. Yeah, do you remember that guy's name? Who was making
No.
that?
What mod was it?
SMOD Damage. And the guy got banned from the tactical forum.
I can't remember.
Just for posting that idea.
No. There was some stuff that went down. I think it was like a moderator on there or something, right?
Yeah. Let's take a quick look on the Google to see what happens.
But can you actually make like a multiplayer version of tactical? I think the weapon drop primary command does not work in multiplayer. Does it?
A lot of things doesn't work in multiplayer on SMOD because it's a single player base.
Which is why I never have agreed with all the demands for a multiplayer SMOD. There's so many things that will just completely break if you put them in a multiplayer context. Like, even if they weren't broken on the code level. Like, how would you do bullet time? What about the weapon balance? All that stuff is going to be pretty unbalanced in multiplayer.
The thing is that there are so many commands as well that's single player specific that is breaking it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it seems like
Maxe
it
did a
really,
quite good job on Troopers.
yeah, that was a pretty respectable try for a multiplayer SMOD, but it was still, it really just, it doesn't work.
No.
I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, I don't begrudge Mixed Thief for trying at all.
I mean, SMOD is not designed to be multiplayer, first of all. It can
Right.
run multiplayer like binaries, but it's not designed for.
Right.
Yeah, and, well, something that, I don't think I ever brought it up to any of you. Quite a few months back, I actually had a Skype chat with Mixie and Mike, who is the voice actor for the soldiers in Underhell.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
He's picking his words carefully here.
Yeah, and if you want to know who the name of the guy who... No, he actually dropped from call. The guy who made SMOD Damage was called...
Sorry,
Houston.
my call dropped there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And
Oh,
it
okay.
hiccup.
We got a lot of things going on. Who is the guy who made SMOD Damage? First of all, I want to know.
Houston. His name was Houston, or his
Houston.
nickname was...
Yeah,
Alright,
that
right.
sounds familiar.
That. Yeah. Okay. Now, Juan, carry on with your thought there.
Alright, what I was trying to say is that I actually had a Skype call quite a while back with Mixthie
Uh-huh.
and Mike, who voice acted in Underhell, in the retail version of Insurgency. I actually think he is the community manager of Insurgency as well, the retail version.
All right.
And they talked about how they played the leaked version of Tactical before it was shut down, and he actually said it was the most realistic recoil he had ever seen in a game.
Wow, right on.
Because I remember, back when they were really letting us have it, they're like, the recoil is garbage, not realistic at all. So it felt kind of vindicating to have somebody who had real-world experience with firearms safes. It was better than Red Orchestra, Killing Floor, what people think of when they think of, realistic, satisfying weaponry.
Right, right.
Yeah, so that was kind of a morale booster. Even
I
though
see.
it was already kind of well dead at that point,
Yeah. So, what's he up to these days? Is he still working on his game, or is that released? MXV, I mean.
He's waiting on, he got greenlit.
Oh, really?
Underhell
Wow.
got greenlit.
Yeah,
so,
he did.
Because Greenlight requires that you own all the content in your release, or at the very least you have explicit permission. He's having to remake a lot of content, and
Right.
he's working on Insurgency in the meantime because, he doesn't really do modeling. So he's waiting for them to, make the weapons, the soldier models, whatever.
Gotcha.
Did Underhell get greenlit?
Yeah, that's what I was
Oh
talking
my
about.
god, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Very nice.
So that's like a SMOD success story. Pretty much. What do you think about that? Started on some crappy mod and turned into a greenlit Steam game.
Yeah, but he got greenlit just because he rebuilt it on Steam Engine.
Right.
I mean, on SDK. There's no way to get greenlit with SMOD.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Right.
no, of course.
Not to mention, it'd be kind of unethical on multiple levels. The author's gone; it's his mod. We wouldn't have the source code anyway,
Yeah.
so there's not a whole lot we could actually do.
Right.
But if, and I'm going, it's not gonna happen, SMOD would get greenlit, then it would bring like a horrible user base along with the greenlit. Like the thing I'm worried the most right now, when Counter Live gonna release his mod, and hopefully I'm gonna release Cry Live, or at least get it to some level of playability. And I'm on ModDB updating this stuff from time to time. I'm gonna already have like awful user base, and this user base is just gonna go to snooch.
Yeah.
That's my problem there.
Well, I mean,
It's gonna be tactical all over again.
No. We'll deal with people accordingly. We have the power now.
No, look, I don't think Tactical could ever repeat itself with you because you're not an outsider butting in on a mod that others were already a fan of. Because I think that's what a lot of it actually stems down to. That, we were on the outside and we came in. We were handed a mod that I'm willing to bet money that they didn't think that we should have.
You think so? Damn.
That might be the part of the
I
problem.
mean, that they were already established form regulars, and we were people coming in from the outside, butting in, trying to make it our own.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, that could be. Yeah, I didn't join there till way late. I lurked for a long time on the Tactical forum, and then, I don't know how long you had been there, Juan, but, yeah, it was kind of like, we came in and just got stuff going, I started writing the tutorials, and yeah, maybe we were outsiders, I don't know. People are crazy, man.
To them, I really think that was part of the reason things got so ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I want to get to all that drama, but there's still a few more things I wanted to ask you about prior to all that. And the first one was when I went to the Tactical Forum the first time, I was looking for how to fix the world models, the CSS world models. And I sent a message to Veteran Gamer about it, like, hey, how do you do this? And he wrote back, he pretty much called me an asshole. He's like, just relax,
Well, yeah, but, kind of came in, asked kind of this Bush League question. I think your screen name was like Big Nick Digger.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. Yeah, a really offensive screen name. So, yeah, he called me an asshole. But anyways, I wanted to see, because he was established by the time I got on the forum. When did he come along, and when did you hook up with Vet?
You know what? I can't even remember. I think it was just one of those things that just happened. That he kind of came onto the forums, and at some point I think he private messaged me on MSN, was my MSN messenger, back when that was still a thing.
Right.
And things just kind of took off from there. I mean, he kind of established himself pretty quickly to me as a guy who was, pretty likable, that we had a shared interest, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I wish we could have him on to go through that. But yeah, I was just kind of wondering, when he came around, when he got established. Because I think he was maybe already a moderator by the time I got on the forum there.
Nah. Well, yeah. But, way back when we met, he was just a regular user.
Right. Yeah, no, I was talking about me. Alright, so we got that. Let's see, there's one other thing I wanted to ask you. SMOD damage, what was it? I don't remember. Alright, let's get to the bad old days.
No, wait. Before we go there, let's not forget that there was a multiplayer project called Close Contact as well.
Oh, yes, that was
failed.
it. What was the deal behind that,
That
man?
was...
Done.
That was supposed to be its own thing.
Right.
That was supposed to be completely divorced from SMOD. It was actually going to be a full-scale mod version of SMOD Tactical. Multiplayer focused.
Right.
But it never really took off. The developing on it, it never got past a few really, really basic builds as a test map, a weapon,
Yeah.
And then it was placed on indefinite hold. which is pretty much code name for dead unless a minor miracle brings it back to life.
Yeah. Yeah, they had what was that guy's name? Quarter Life, right? He was a really good coder, man. So they had some competent people on the project.
Yeah, he actually, like, I think he was involved in quite a few mod teams over the course of the Source Engine's life, but it's like he's kind of mercenary in that he never sticks around long.
Right. Oh, I like this firework grenade. Nice.
He actually continued work on another mod called City 17
Right.
that had several
and
nice features.
yeah, that mod is more or less dead unless explicitly stated to be otherwise at this point, though.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you look back on the Source Engine's history, it's like a cemetery of promising-looking mods that die.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
Nice, I like it.
And, a lot of people, say that the modding scene is dead because, or at least isn't what it used to be because, companies, they don't really release software development kits or mapping tools anymore. And while it's partly true, it's a lot more of a complex issue than that. And I think a lot of what has to do with the modding scene dying out and why so many mods get started and die is because the standards for modding have risen so much over the 2000s.
I think the standard hardware and software reason though, because you can get SDK even if someone will release an SDK. It takes ages to compile, like compile a map. They're using like computer farms to compile a map. When you're on your home and compiling a huge map, it's gonna take weeks. It's gonna take a few weeks, and you're gonna playtest this and playtest it, and you're gonna find a little bug. You fix it and then compile it another for 2 weeks. That's the problem.
Right, and yeah, it's definitely part of the issue, but the issue also extends to model creation, texture creation. The standards for those things are a lot higher than they used to be. Back in the Half-Life 1 days. Back in the Half-Life 1 days, all you really needed to do is to make sure you had a decent mesh, decent texture rigged onto a bone set that had animations for it. Nowadays, you have to worry about shaders. If you're making a humanoid model, you have to worry about face expressions, eye tracking, that sort of thing. Weapon models need a lot more detail, shader work.
So is it just the
and
technology
of course,
that you blame, or is there any mod in particular that raised the standards, or what was it?
Well, like I said, it's a complex issue that can't be boiled down into just one point.
Okay.
Because modding, in some ways, mods want to be AAA games.
Right.
It's not an entirely accurate statement, but it's one that you see more often than not. That, you saw it with SMOD Tactical, you see it with all these realism mods, that deep down, modding wants to be basically community-made AAA.
God.
And in some ways, I actually think modding is held to as high or even higher standards than AAA games. That we expect a degree of visual polish in a way that AAA games even have a hard time with.
But I think that also platforms like Steam and other stuff that's for indie developers because a lot of indie games are better quality than AAA games. I mean quality in terms of gameplay and maybe looks sometimes, but mostly gameplay. And I think what is happening now that most of the mods is aiming to become not maybe indie games, but something like indie release. So they are actually pushing the standards high up, and the standards are really, really, really high up for those mods, I guess, to be said with.
Well, the way I see it is that modding effectively evolved into the indie gaming scene.
Yeah.
Because
There you
that's
go.
another reason why you don't see mods these days, because mods, they're free. You're essentially developing them, no cost. You're not making money off of it. And this is a day and age where you can get access to, engines like Unity or the CryEngine or the Unreal 4, either for free or for pretty low cost compared to what engine licenses used to be.
Right.
So it's like, you can go ahead and make these big mods, but it's a lot more tempting to just, go the extra mile and just make full-on games.
Oh my god.
And when you combine that with how high the standards are for content creation, and when you consider that things like, even a modern game companies to build maps, they have these huge render farms set up just to get them to compile in anything resembling a reasonable time span. You have mods, the scenes just isn't what it used to be anymore.
Nope. There's also a bunch of hidden costs when you're releasing a game. But releasing a mod is quite cheap. Like if you
That's
want to...
true, but...
Hmm?
But with Steam, it's very easy to get exposure.
Yeah.
To the point where ending up on Steam is pretty much like life or death when it comes to a lot of indie games.
There's also another thing that you need to consider if you want to make a source game. Not only do you need to pay royalties to Valve, but you also need to pay, I think it was $25,000 up front to have it.
25,000.
Up front to
Well,
have
there's
it.
also the middleware licensing, to Havoc.
There's shit of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a moot point anyway because Valve stopped licensing the Source engine like a year ago.
Wow. Alright.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just rumors, at least in terms of what's actually going on inside Valve right now. But where it is that the Source 2 engine is effectively done, they just don't have a game for it. And I mean, they are kind of, sort of, like they're upgrading Defense of the Ancients, Dota.
Yeah.
Supposedly the engine upgrade they're doing for it is basically going to put it on Source 2. But aside from that, they essentially have the engine done, but no game to put it on. And I've actually heard a lot of things that suggest that Valve is kind of a mess internally right now.
Yeah, I read something about that too recently. But again, Dota, there's an example of a mod going to a full thing, right?
Well, yeah, but if you look at like Red Orchestra, Counter-Strike, Day of Defeat, even Black Mesa's going retail.
Right. Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they get permission from Valve to sell it on Steam.
Oh, nice. I was really surprised that it even got redone on the Source engine. To be honest.
I mean, it looks amazing and it's amazing to play, but the retail version, I don't really know what to think about it.
Oh,
Maybe
is
it's like
somebody
with
choking a
insurgency.
cat? I mean,
Maybe
that's what,
me.
is
Maybe.
it you?
No,
I hear it
no,
in the
no, it's not
background.
me, no.
So, yeah, that's kind of my opinion on the whole modding scene. And it's kind of a shame because one of modding's strengths is that the gate is a lot lower in content creation when it comes to retail games.
Right.
That one of our strengths was that, when you mod for a game, you already have a ready-made library of retail-grade assets to use. And, even back in the days before indie games rose up, you still saw mods that, wanted to put the utmost detail into their models and textures, the factories of AK-47 meshes, all
Right.
lovingly rendered and never put into the game. Because those mods died.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm tempted to call almost like FPS banana syndrome, where you put so much detail into the weapons that they're more detailed than the characters holding them. because
Yeah.
the
That's my
weapons are
problem
almost
with like skins.
because they're
Go
almost
on.
like portfolio pieces as opposed to something that was actually made for a game.
Right. Yeah.
That-
Yeah,
but,
that's my problem with like skins. Let's Counter Strike Source. I've had a couple of skins for Counter Strike Source, and they just didn't match the rest of the guns. So I ended up putting skin for every weapon for the game just to make it like better. And then I realized that player models didn't fit, so I put a player model skin to make it high detail. And suddenly, like, okay, so I had the guns, I had the player models. What else? The maps look shit, so I might as well download some like texture redux pack to make the maps look better. And that's the problem. Like the most of the community-made content, not even like saying about Counter-Strike right now, but little mods like add-ons, let's say, it's better than the game itself, better quality.
Right, and it's because most community content like that is built to be as high quality as possible. Because quite a few modelers, like they use stuff like that to actually get an inroad into the industry.
right.
You know, it's not unheard of that these people actually end up working on retail projects or whatever thanks to those models. But it's because those models are built to be as detailed as possible as opposed to built to a artistic standard.
Yeah.
Where,
I can think
like,
of a few people
You know, retail games are.
who went that road. So, all right. Well, we really strayed pretty far, but I gotta agree with you guys for the most part on what you said. And it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
'cause,
I mean,
well, it sucks. What else can you say?
Yeah. But it is kind of relevant to this version of Redux, at least, because, you know, I could have packed it full of the latest and greatest game banana models. You know, I could have given everything bong shading. I could have added fake factories textures, but I didn't want to.
Right.
Because not only does that raise, you know, credit and file size concerns, but also because, you know, no matter what you're going to do, Half-Life, unless you want to remake all of its assets, Half-Life 2 was made in 2004. You're not going to change that by adding the latest and greatest weapon models or textures or whatever that are
Right.
flowing around.
I agree. It is what it is,
So
man.
rather than trying to buck the limitations and only making them more emphasized, I wanted to embrace the limitations and work within them.
Right. Yeah, you know, embrace it. Pretty much.
Right, because I think in a lot of ways that's kind of more the spirit of modding. That you can get away with stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And it has been lost, man. Everything now is like, yes, it needs to be 4x textures and all the shaders and all that jazz. And it's a mess, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to slam talented people who do make, you know, detailed models like that and
Oh,
such.
no, yeah.
But it's that it does have the unfortunate side effect that people expect these things out of community projects.
Somebody hit me up on Skype. Let's see who that was. Oh, Spaz.
Spaz, be right back.
Thanks, Spaz. Alright, so, let's see. How do we get onto this? Oh, Close Contact, that's what it was. Close Contact mod. So,
Yeah,
in the graveyard of Source.
dead for years now.
Yeah. I like it, man. The graveyard of Source engine games. It's so fitting, unfortunately, in a sad way. Alright, so let's get to the tactical forum. Meltdown extravaganza, because things kind of got out of hand rapidly, you know. or they deteriorated rapidly, I guess you can say.
From what I can remember, it was more over the course of a year and a half, and yeah, things really did turn into a mess. And unfortunately, I made some pretty Bush League calls when it came down to putting development builds of the mod on your FTP, Busey, without a password.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's not a cautionary tale, I don't know what is.
Yeah, don't do that. Or, I always kind of thought it was some kind of genius plan by you to wipe your hands of it. Can you confirm or deny that?
I did not intend for that to happen. Like I said, it was a Bush League move, to say the least.
Yeah, it happens, man. Gotta say,
Well, yeah, but usually it doesn't cause this kind of blowback. But they already had a lot of reason to hate us. It's just that was a good enough catalyst that they were able to have some leverage.
Right.
And by that point, I was so fed up with the politics and the general bull of it all that I think I talked to Veteran Gamer and he told me to just walk. And not long after, I sent an email over to Fat Cat telling him, all this crap happened. I'm not really happy with how you haven't supported me during any of this. Because remember that he was kind of on their side during a few portions. I remember that there was at least one little tense bit in our chat room where we were just like, he was backing them up, not knowing the full story, and we had some serious communication troubles like that.
Well, he was, pretty much, I'm not going to knock the guy, but he was a non-factor through all of it. Other than his name and his clout, he wasn't around. He didn't maintain anything, the forums or anything.
Yeah, so I sent over this email, laid it all bare, told him, more or less, I didn't ask for this. And I didn't want any more part of it. That I gave him the build I had, which was pretty near final, and told him it was up to him to release it or not. Like, he could release it, and he got back to me saying he actually apologized, admitting that he didn't really support me enough, with the whole logistics of the website, the forums, and he shut it all down. So I don't think he was terribly happy with how Happy Cat and them treated us either.
Yeah, and it's for some reason a little clique developed with these guys, and that was it. Oh, and I do want to show. I gotta do this. I do want to put it on the record because these guys, when we moved over, all right. So it's kind of between Tactical Forums shutting down and the Beastnooch website now, we kind of migrated. I set up a forum and we migrated over there. And I let all these people who had caused a lot of the issues on the Tactical Forum, I kind of let them hang around until Vet gave them the axe. Because that's his style, like I said earlier. He says he cuts heads off, and that's what it is. But, so all these guys... It was Happy Cat and Ken, or Skepsis, I guess he goes by.
Skepsis, I think it was.
Yep. And there's some other guy from Finland or somewhere. I can't remember his name.
Dax.
Yeah, Dax, that's it.
Little runt. Guy was actually on my friends list at one point, and he was pretty friggin' annoying. I eventually removed him. I'm guessing he took that in the worst way possible, given how he just kind of went ballistic.
Yeah.
When Tactical leaked.
Alright, let me see here. I'm gonna find it. So anyways, they're, after they banned them, like, these guys were just so consistent in, trying to track us down. I really wanted to show this on the stream, and I don't know if it's gonna. I don't want to show his IP address, but let's see if you can see this here. Anyways, this is the ban logs from the server.
Oh, are you talking about where Happy Cat hit the ban trigger over 50,000 freaking times.
Yeah, so after this guy got banned, you can see his name right there where the chat's supposed to be on the stream. So after he got banned, let me see if I can get this in here with his name. No, it's not going to work. But that's how many times he's tried to access the site after he got banned. 54,285 times.
I actually have a picture of it with that information. You know, nothing like his IP or anything. I actually have a picture of it on my Dropbox.
Oh, do you? Link it up, man.
Yeah.
It's just baffling.
Should I drop it in the Skype chat or?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
As Secretary said,
Alright.
that is the best way to actually post it.
Yeah. So
All
it
right,
was
hang
like
on.
these guys just I don't know what their thing was. They got it in them, like, you know, we were killing SMOD for some reason, and they wanted blood, man. And when we moved to the website now, the Beast Nooch one, I was wanting to make peace because, you know, this was my little domain, or it was until all you guys moved over here. So I was like, you know what, if they want to be here and they behave themselves like civilized people, fine, but I think there's just too much bad blood, and you can see, I mean, 54,000 ban triggers. That is ridiculous. Nobody else is even close. Even the spam bots who come here simply to spam like ads, they only have maybe 1,000 or 2,000 retries, you know, and this is like a real guy.
I can only guess he attempted to brute force his way past the ban trigger, or it was a awful attempt at doing a denial of service attack on us.
Yeah, maybe so. I like it. Thanks for the hits. Where can I put that? I'm gonna put it up here. So yeah, I wanted to put that in there before chatception before we shut it off or whatever. But so yeah, that was, I don't know what the issue was, man, but there were a couple mass like suicides from the attack.